Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing?
So good.
Right here.
Looks like the only one missing is Sarah, and that was expected. So,
Coop, I've got a copy of that. I'm going to do her committee and the regular meeting.
okay,
motion.
good. Yep, perfect.
Okay.
All
I
right.
only got one copy, so I'm just going to read it the same for committee as I do for you for the regular meeting.
Perfect.
All right.
President Cooper, the stream is all set, so whenever you're
Cool.
ready.
Do you ever
Yeah.
find all those parts for the
Not
desk?
yet. Not
Oh.
yet. But we're looking.
I didn't know if I missed your phone call. That's
No. All right. We're going to call this meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7:01. Hold on for 1 second. 7:01. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. We are suspending the rules this evening. We're going to take things slightly out of order. So in order to do that, we need to suspend the rules. Roll call vote. Any questions about that? Roll call vote is required. And we'll begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes. 10
yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are operating under suspended rules. At this time, we'll go on to the continued public hearings. Mr. Withers, would you just read the beginning of the first continued public hearing this evening? Steve, did I lose you?
Oh, Joe.
There you go. Now
Am I
can
back?
hear you. You're back.
Okay, so this is a continued public hearing relative to the loan order for $526,000 to remove and replace gymnasium floors at Hyman Fine and Hill Roberts Elementary Schools. I'm not there.
Yep, you're here.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there, there's nobody on other than counselors that I see. So is there any, just going to go through the motions and close this public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone neither for nor against? Seeing none, Councilor Conti, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
No, I do not. Mr. President, I would like to see it closed.
Thank you. That public hearing is closed. Mr. Withers, would you kindly read the notice of the next continued public hearing?
Yes, this is a continued public hearing relative to the proposed amendments to Section 7 of the revised ordinances of Attleboro regarding rubbish and recycling.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone neither for nor against? Councilor Holmes, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you. This public hearing is also closed. Moving right along to the mayor's communication.
July 23rd, 2020. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Mike Murphy, 6 Thayer Farm Road, Attleboro, to fill an expired term on the Election Commission, term to expire February 2024. Copies in your packets.
The Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, please.
Sincerely, Paul Heroux, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to recess. Full committee.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's in order. We are going to recess for committee meetings, and then we will come back to the full council. The vote requires a roll call, and we'll begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. We are recessed. Motion passes. We are recessed at 7:05 for committee meetings.
Emergency Management and Public Safety is canceled this evening. Coop, do you want me to do the other one now or wait till it's
Yeah.
your turn?
Do it
Yep,
now.
go ahead. Do it now.
Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee. I have two motions this evening. I move to declare the following DPW vehicle as surplus and available for disposition. A 1993 F800, serial number 1FDXK74C8PVA 32063. Very poor condition.
Second. Oops.
Oh,
Committee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Counselor Holmes.
This is actually in very poor condition. I believe they got a truck to replace one of these come in this week. So, any other questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to declare the following DPW vehicle as surplus and available for disposition. A 2011 Crown Vic. I didn't even know we had one down there. 2 FABP7B VOBX180693, 92,651 miles in poor condition.
Second.
Second. I don't know anything about it other than what I'm reading. I wasn't aware we had a Crown Vic down there. Do we, Kate? Do you know of?
As of tonight, we're not going to anymore. But
Did
yeah,
we have one down there?
yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That's all I have this evening for city property and claims. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Cooper, transportation and traffic is canceled for this evening.
I'd like to call the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee to order at 7:08. Sitting on this committee is Councilor Dolan and Councilor Waterman. I have two motions to bring before you this evening. From the docket of June 16, 2020, I move to approve the request of the mayor to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $526,000 be appropriated for the costs of the removal and replacement of the gymnastic floors and environmental hygienist monitoring, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, of which amount up to $10,000 may be used for costs associated with the issuance of bonds or notes for this purpose. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $526,000 under Section 7, Paragraph 1 of Chapter 44 of the General Laws, or any other enabling authority that the mayor is authorized to take any other necessary or convenient to carry out this project. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of such bonds or notes approved by this order, less any premium applied by the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs of this order in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the General Laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount.
Second.
I think I heard Ty.
You did, yeah.
And Ty, I think if you're a younger man, you'd be jumping up and down on that couch.
I might anyways, at the end of the evening.
Thank you.
I am thrilled. I'm very proud of my committee, all of us, for standing our ground and calling for this loan order so that these floors are being repaired in the proper manner, in the best possible manner for capital equipment in the city of Attleboro. Ty, you started this process, and I congratulate you for marshaling it right through. You did a fabulous job, and I'm very proud of you. You're a good counselor. And that concludes my comments. Does anyone else have anything to say? Councilor Dolan.
So does anybody feel concerned about this at all right now?
You mean in spite of the economy?
Yeah. And please, I know how important this is to you, Ty, and please, you know, I don't know. I feel concerned about this right now. This is a lot of money. I don't know. Do you guys completely disagree with me, or
I will make note of your concerns in the minutes of the meeting.
I mean, as you know, I have supported this when we discussed it on numerous occasions.
Right.
I can't say that I don't have reservations right now. I don't know.
Those reservations are putting you in a position where you will not be able to vote for the motion.
I don't know. I mean, we don't have free cash certified. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. If you guys could say something, help me out here. Is anybody feeling the same way I am, or?
I'll tell you why I'm not feeling the same way you are.
Please.
We're early in the pandemic. Yes, I see there is potential for economic distress in the future. There are items coming down off of the bonding that allow us to take on this bonding to replace the floors. The city is not in a position where it can stop spending everything. And you're hearing from perhaps the biggest champion of capital improvements on the council, who supports this measure completely, even in this economic period, because I believe that our children are going to be using those floors throughout the pandemic and in the future to great benefit. And that the flooring that is there now, which we've learned a lot about, is inappropriate. So I'm not going to call this a public safety issue, because it's not a public safety issue, but I fully support this measure because in spite of the economic times, in a budget of 140 plus million, borrowing $500,000 to repair floors seems ordinary and common in a city of this size. That's my feelings, Councilor Dolan. Councilor Waterman, did you want to contribute?
Yes, but like yourself, I think we would have been advised by people like our city treasurer, Laura would have told us if she thought that this was not the time to borrow. I'm under the, I believe that we have enough space in our borrowing to afford this, because there are items that are coming off. I trust that factor, or I don't believe that this would have been brought to us. The other item is that it is dangerous. There very well could be chemicals, things that are not healthy for the kids, and they couldn't even really slide on it. And the price is only going to go up. Look how much farther it went up from the original price that we thought it would be.
I mean, I'm not saying, put it off till next year. I don't know. I feel really, and Rick, I've been on the capital improvements for a while, and I'm a champion for it as well. I've always agreed with you on almost everything that we need to do. I don't know. I feel concerned. I really do. And I don't know if you're going to let other people speak, but I don't know.
I do
feel-
intend to let other people speak. I can see that Councilor Cobus and Councilor Blair and Councilor Delicio have their hands up. But I do want the committee to address your concerns before we open up to the rest of the floor. And Ty, have you concluded your comments?
Well, I just want to add that I was under the impression as he was leaving that even Barry felt that there was room for this project to go forth. And that was back in February.
Right. And back in February, that was like 5 years ago.
I know.
And the reason I say that, because so much has changed, and I'll tell you, I'll be sick to my stomach if we're talking about, if we have to lose, God forbid, any employees, whether they be teachers or on the city side, and then we just approve this for floors. I don't know. I feel very hesitant on this. And I don't mean for a year or 2 years. I mean, I don't know. If we could buy some time, I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel really torn about this.
That conclude your comments, Councilor Dolan, for now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to recognize Councilor Blair first.
Richard, I too am concerned. I don't even know, or we don't even know if the kids are going back to school full time in September, and whether or not they'll be taking gym classes. I don't think it's an emergency. I, like Laura, feel that it's something I personally would hold off on bonding for that, just in case. If the kids don't go back to school full time in September, I don't think it's going to be used. And may I ask, Richard, if we approved it tonight, how soon would those floors be done? Do you know?
To respond, I do not know the timing. They were hoping to do it between the off season so that it would be done during the summertime. Since we're just approving it now, that means it would be done next year. And my question to you, Councilor Blair, is did you read the school committee minutes from the last meeting? They stated in their meeting that traditional school, as we have known it, is not going to be in order in the coming season. They stated that they're debating about the opening date, and they're waiting for the state to determine whether or not there's 180 days of mandatory schooling for the year. And there is going to be a blend of traditional and non-traditional education for the students. No one's dealt with whether or not that's going to involve gym floors, but I would think that it would.
I don't think that, if I may continue, Richard.
Please do.
I don't think that putting a new gym floor down is going to increase the education over the next year. To me, it's not the time to borrow. A year from now, when hopefully this pandemic is over, they come up with a vaccine, our kids can get back to school, I'd be wholeheartedly in favor of it. But these floors are usable. I believe they're using them. So holding it off for a year and not bonding $500,000 that we don't have to, I think is a prudent thing to do at this time. I can't make myself vote for this when it comes to the roof floor. I hope I'm not sounding like a killjoy, but it just doesn't seem feasible to do it at this time financially and with the best interest of the city's dollars.
Are you prepared to give up the floor?
Yes, I am, Richard.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Cobus, you have the floor.
Outstanding. Thank you, Councilor Conti. first of all, I recognize the importance of this and the need for these gym floors. But if this were to come before the full council tonight, I would be a no vote tonight. Simply not because I don't agree with it, but I don't think now's the time. And what I would encourage you to do is to hold this in committee until the fall, until we find out what's coming in from CARES money, when certified free cash comes in, so that we know where we are financially as a city. I mean, we just went through the budget and we had cut after cut after cut to make sure that we were in a good place come fall. And for me personally, I would not be comfortable voting yes in favor of this when last month I voted no for the kitchen for the firefighters, the $30,000 kitchen for the firefighters. I wouldn't be okay with doing that personally. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Copus. Councilor Delicio.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. First of all, I agree with Councilor Dolan wholeheartedly, as well as Councilors Blair and Cobus. You know, we just closed the public hearing tonight. I think that if my suggestion, take it or leave it, would be let's hold off until the August meetings. Let's see where we're at that point. I don't know that there's a need to rush it through this evening. I think there's just too many things that are unknown. Sure, you know, we're waiting for the state, you know, but so are we. We're waiting for the state. We're waiting for the feds so we can understand really what our financial situation will truly look like. So there's just a lot that's unknown right now. I, like every other counselor who spoke this evening, I'm in favor of the project. I understand the needs of the project, but even your own words, Counselor, where the school committee said they don't know what school's going to look like, traditional and non-traditional. And to Councilor Blair's point, we don't know if there's going to be gym class or not. So I think I'd rather have that flexibility in case something else comes down the line that we really need more so than these gym floors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Delicio. Councilor Cooper.
Thank you. Councilor Conti, I just want to remind you that this is a loan order and requires a 2/3 vote.
Thank you for that reminder.
And Richard, the other thing I want to make sure we're mindful of is the time frame after closing a public hearing, right? Which I believe is 90 days. So we just need to be mindful of those dates. I can't find that as quickly as I found the 2/3 loan order, but I'll find it.
Thank you, Councilor Cooper. Councilor Dolan, hearing the comments with Councilor Cobus's recommendation for a hold and Councilor Delicio's recommendation for a hold through August, do you wish to make a motion to lay the motion on the table?
I can withdraw my second.
Okay.
And we can leave it in committee.
Very good. You withdraw
If
your
that
second.
helps,
I will
that's
withdraw
okay.
my motion. I had Ty down as a second.
Yeah, well, I think we both said it at the same time.
Sorry.
I will withdraw my second. I do understand Councilor Cobus and Councilor Dolan and Councilor Deluzio's concerns about not knowing where we are right now financially, and I understand that. So I will honor that, and I hope that within the next 90 days we're in a position to raise this issue again.
Yeah,
I like what I'm hearing. I do.
I think leaving it in committee will free us up to not have the pressure of a time limit, and, you know, we can have more discussion. It'll just buy us some time to, you know, think about it and not pressure us. And because we don't want to pressure everybody else and have it fail.
So
Yeah.
the second has been withdrawn. I'm withdrawing the motion. It will stay in our docket and we'll discuss it again in probably September, because we have 90 days so that we can deal with it in October.
Well,
And maybe it'll be a different world.
the 90
Yes.
days doesn't apply if we keep it in committee, does it?
Yes, it does. Once the public hearing is closed, the clock starts ticking.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Thank
Yep.
you. You're
Yep.
right. Thank you.
So you both understand we're just going to let it sit on our docket through the month of August, take it up in probably the second meeting in September, and try to deal with it in October. Okay,
Understood.
that's the plan?
Yes.
So Second motion I have to bring for you tonight is from the docket of July 23rd, 2020. I move to approve the request of the mayor to approve a 10-year lease agreement with Bristol County Savings Bank for the operation of a bank bench in the new high school.
Second.
I made an attempt to circulate to you this week a copy of the Bristol County Savings Bank lease, which I obtained from the legal secretary. I noted tonight when I went to look at my email that some of that email had bounced back as undeliverable after 24 hours. So since I only tried to do that on Wednesday and this is Thursday, you may not have seen the lease. So I'm going to tell you the highlights that I noted in the lease for your consideration. The lease is a 10-year lease with a 10-year renewable. So it's really a 20-year lease. And the second 10 years are renewed on an annual basis. So it's good upon approval for 10 years. And each year following that, they would have to go for approval again and again and again. The fee payment to the school system is $1 per year throughout the life of the lease. The school bank will only be open between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. only when the school is in session. There will be no ATMs in the school unless it's approved by the superintendent. And the staff will be Bristol County Savings Bank and students. Now, the students will not be paid while they are serving as bank tellers in the bank, but they can be paid by Bristol County Savings Bank off-site during training and other bank issues, like if they go to work to be a teller in one of the other bank branches. The purpose of the bank is to serve both the students and the staff. So obviously they will be encouraging all the teachers to open up Bristol County Savings Bank accounts and payroll deductions, etc. When the school committee sent out the request for quotes, Bristol County Savings Bank was the only bank that responded. And once they take their place in the new school system, they will develop their own private security system for the space that is designated to be the bank bench. So that's what I learned while reading the lease. Do any of you have questions? Councilor Cooper. You're muted.
There we go. Sorry about that. I just have a comment really. It's what they have in place today, right? They have a branch in the lobby today that is used by students and during school hours. So it's just moving it into the new school, which I think is a great opportunity for everybody to learn how to bank.
Does that conclude your comments?
It does. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on the motion? Therefore, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes the business of the Capital Improvement City Development Committee this evening. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Thank you. I declare the Capital Improvement City Development Committee adjourned at 7:29. Thank you.
Thank you.
So at 7:29, I declare the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee to be open. And I would like to, from the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I would move to approve a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts for the City of Attleboro for the community-wide Big Read program of approximately $15,000.
Second.
Thank you very much. This is the book for anybody that's watching on television. All the counselors were very fortunate to receive a copy. It's a New York Times bestseller. I haven't read it yet, so I won't comment, but I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. And this is normal. We do this every year. We get a grant. And are there any questions? Are we ready to have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And anybody opposed? None. Okay, we pass, so I think it's 2-0 tonight. Councilor Cooper, are you sitting as the third member? Thank you. Now, with also from the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I would entertain a motion to approve the following appointment to the Council on Human Rights. Ashley Stewart, term to expire February 2022. Do we have a second?
Second.
None of the people that I'm going to be bringing forth tonight are going to be with us this evening, but they, each of us asked me if I would say a few words. I'm not going to read the whole letter, but I'm just going to say a little bit. I did speak with Ashley. She recently hosted the Juneteenth celebration that we might have read about in the paper recently, spreading news about Black history. And she asked me to quote from her letter these words: "I am a passionate and empathetic biracial woman who wants to create a hate-free environment free of biases. I will do my very best to impact and advocate for our community." Are there any questions or thoughts? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, we pass 3-0. Thank you. Next on the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the following appointment to the Municipal Building Commission. Gail Clark, term to expire February 2022. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to read the addresses. She lives on 8 Maple Terrace. Our former Capital Projects Administrator, and she's very excited about joining the Municipal Building Commission. Any thoughts or questions?
Great addition.
I agree. Thank you.
We welcome her back to the city.
Absolutely.
Yes.
She's excited to continue to work on some projects that she helped start.
Yeah.
Like the library, I'm sure. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Vote passes unanimous. From the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the following appointment also to the Council on Human Rights. Mac Borgelis, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, February 2023. In his letter, he is a resident of Attleboro all his life, and he's a graduate of Attleboro High School from 2008, and has in the past been a home care case manager with Bristol County Elder Services, and currently works in Boston, and is really looking forward to being on this council. Are there any thoughts or questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote passes unanimously. And also from the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the following appointment to the Planning Board. And this is Shannon Benet, term to expire February 2022. Shannon spoke to me. She was raised in Attleboro, moved back here after living away for a while in 2011. She lives at 14 Holden Street. Shannon is a child welfare attorney based right here in Attleboro. And she said in her letter, she asked me to quote this: "I am interested in helping the city strike the right balance between meeting the growing demand for housing while protecting public health, safety, and our environment." And recently she said, "I had the opportunity to meet with our city planner, Gary Arizian. I learned a great deal about the workings of the planning board. I was impressed with the description of the board members' professionalism and dedication to their work, and I would appreciate the opportunity to serve on the planning board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any thoughts, issues?
Yes, Ty.
Please.
I don't personally know this lady. I'm sure that she has all good intentions, but the planning board's very important.
Yes.
Nothing against the person, but I think somebody that you don't know is pretty hard to vote for, or at least have some contact with them. Is there any way that you can hold this off till August and get her to come online, or?
How about if she comes online and speaks with us at our next meeting, which is what, August?
August.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date.
No disrespect for the lady, Ty. I just think our planning department's very, very important. I would like a few questions to personally ask her feelings about certain things.
I'm sure that she'd be willing to come. I spoke to her today, so I'm sure she'd be willing to come in August. I will say that I have known her for a couple of years, only because my wife taught her children piano and I got a chance to know her, but you don't know her, and Sarah might not either.
I'll withdraw my second, Ty. That way you can bring it back out in August.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we have one more motion. The fan just blew me around a little. Okay, and from the docket of July 23rd, I entertain a motion to approve the following appointment also to the planning board. Michael Davis, term to expire February 2025. I am presuming that many of us on the council do know Mike. I did not know him very well. For those who do not know him, he lives at 99 Thayer Farm Road. He served 2 terms in the city council, perhaps with you, Peter?
No, I didn't have the pleasure.
You didn't. He at the time, he was the chair of the Planning and Land Use Committee. Later on, he became the chairman of the Ponset Hewitt Recreation Committee. He's a former high school college teacher of biology, chemistry, and environmental sciences. And the one quote from his letter, I look forward to serving my city further and make a difference here in Attleboro. Are there any concerns or thoughts?
My only thought is, Ty, if you're going to hold one out, I'd appreciate the other one.
So I understand that. I think that's fair, and I will ask them both to personally attend.
I'll withdraw my second and let you do that.
We will do so. And with that,
Ty? Hi. Hello, Ty.
yes.
Hi. I'm sorry. I just want to say, I'm not surprised to see Mike Davis coming back and getting involved in the city of Attleboro, because after his 2 terms, he was a great city councilor. And I have spoken to him several times, and he's been before us on other matters when we were talking about home energy. He had just done his home over there on Thayer Farm Road. And yeah, I'm so happy to see him getting involved, but I'm not surprised. I knew he'd jump right back in after retirement. So I will support him no matter what.
Thank you. And we'll bring him back in August. Is there anybody else who would like to speak before we conclude the meeting?
Thanks, Ty.
No, that's fine. Understood. So that concludes the business of the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. I'll call for the next committee at the appropriate time. And I would now call for an adjournment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Seeing none. We will meet next week at the next appropriate time, or August. Thank you.
And I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 7:39.
Second.
Thank you. Let's write this down. So I have 3 motions this evening from the docket of July 23rd, 2020. I entertain a motion to approve a Sustainable Materials Recovery Program municipal grant from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. The amount of the grant is approximately $300,000 in pay-as-you-throw program funds to go towards the purchase of the automated 35-gallon rubbish carts.
Second.
Thank you. So I spoke with Alan Perry yesterday, and he had actually reached out to Mass DEP to see if they could help us along the way. And they guided him along. They got this grant. He wrote this grant. He got it going. And we were very, very fortunate enough to receive this. And I'm quite pleased to hear that. I'm happy to receive any grant that we can get for the city. So I hope you would all support this.
Kate, can I ask a question?
You can ask me any question, Kathleen.
Thank you. So if it's 300,000 to go towards the purchase, what is, and maybe I should have caught this the other Tuesday, but what is the cost of the 35-gallon rubbish carts? What's the total cost for those? Do you recall from the other night?
I don't recall off the top of my head, and I'm looking for my paperwork because what we did get, there was extra backup that I was just handed to today.
Yeah.
And let me just look through it real quickly.
I guess I'm just wondering, are we going to use all of that, or will it be anything left of the 300,000 or?
Oh, I'm sure we're going to use it all.
Oh, okay.
A lot, and across the board, it's actually going to help the consumer later on as far as this contract moves along. I do know that, but I don't know the exact number. Would you like me to find out before we vote this out?
President Cooper has his hand up. Maybe he knows.
Oh, President Cooper, go ahead.
Thank you. So I actually would like you to wait, Kate, to vote this out until we land with the trash, the current trash and recycling ordinance. And I'll tell you what, specifically
Okay.
why. Because in the contract, the trash contract, which I've, it's good reading if you board it at 3 a.m. The city waste management is supplying, distributing, and maintaining up to 14,600 35-gallon carts at the cost of $75 a piece. In addition to that, they whack us every year for about $100,000 in Appendix B of this thing for carts. So I'm wondering if they're charging us $100,000 and we have $300,000 worth of grant money. Could we think differently about? And I'm flipping pages because I can't find the exhibit where to give you the exact amount. I know it was about $100,000 year over year for the 5 years. Exhibit B. I'm trying to find it, and I will find. Here it is. Put one of these doodads on it. So the annual cart cost is $111,600 for the 5 years of the contract. So if we could save 300,000 of that, what could we do in other parts of this contract for things that we don't like the $29 for the bulk item? Just a thought. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry to catch you by surprise, but it's all coming to me now. And when Kathleen asked the question, it prompted my brain to think about what I read last night.
I love it when your brain starts kicking in after a long day at work. Plus, we did just receive this on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. So, Laura, would you mind withdrawing a second this evening?
No, I withdraw my second.
Thank you very much. We'll hold on to that. Thank you very much. And we'll get all those answers going. And we'll try and find out we'll get all those questions answered for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Mark.
Thank
So
you.
docket of July 23rd, 2020. I'm still not muted. I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of funds for fiscal year 21 insurance premium endorsements and claims and transfer $5,937 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to the following accounts: $4,937 to account 610-574010 Water Enterprise Fund Insurance, and $1,000 to account 6100-576010 Water Enterprise Fund Claims.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for the insurance premium, which the water department underfunded. because when they were provided by Farrell Backlund Insurance Company during the budget preparation, it was underestimated. So we just want to bring it up to date so we have enough for this year. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you ever so much. Lastly, this evening, I entertain a motion to approve the donation of I love how it says donation of $218,154 from Columbia Gas for paving on Thatcher Street, County Street, Horton Street, Forest Street, and also for the repair maintenance of various roadway and sidewalks throughout the city.
Second.
Thank you. So as you all, some of you may know and some of you may not know, when sometimes the city will already have plans to go and pave a road, and Columbia Gas might come along and say, you know what, we have to get in that road. We have to get in on County Street because we have to put in some new pipelines, or we have to go in and do some testing. So they have to tear up, even if it's a portion of the road. So they're responsible for, we put a patch on it, they watch it, they make sure it doesn't sink, but then they have to reimburse us because especially on these particular roads, DPW had already had plans to repave them. So we had to put off our project. So they go in and they negotiate to get money back from Columbia Gas. So this is what this money is from.
Thank you for that.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you very much. And that concludes the business this evening for Public Works. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:46.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:46. Thank you.
I'd like to call budget and appropriations order 746.
Excuse me.
Let's turn to 747. From the docket of June 2nd, 2020, I move to approve the request of the mayor to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $357,000 be appropriated for the cost of purchasing and equipping police departmental vehicles, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, of which amount up to $2,000 may be used for costs associated with the issuance of bonds or notes for this purpose. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $357,000 under Section 7, subsection 1 of Chapter 44 of the general laws, or any other enabling authority that the mayor is authorized to take any necessary or convenient to carry out this project. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this order, less any such premium applied to the payments of costs of issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payment of costs by this order in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount.
Second.
Thank you, Todd. So tonight we're going to be talking about a loan order for $350,000 for police cruisers. And I think this is a little different than the gym floors, but I think this is a little different too, because the situation the country's in right now, and I appreciate sensitive nature. And honestly, I find myself in a precarious situation. My brother's kids are of color, and I think that's an important topic with this piece of business. My niece and nephew are brown skinned, and as a family, we've weathered racism, as my niece and nephews have lived through it at very young ages. But I also sat on the Public Safety Committee for 7 years and spent 2 years as a police commissioner. Systematic racism is real and needs to be addressed at all levels. We've all had calls and conversations with residents on both sides of the defund the police argument. One excerpt from an email we all received was, "We urge a reallocation of funds at the federal, state, local level from policing and incarceration to long-term community programs such as education, restorative justice services, mental health and substance abuse services, and employment programs." But I think if you take a good look around at the Attleboro Police Department, the APD has already been addressing these issues for years. For instance, the POP, the POP team, is a department of the APD that goes above and beyond what most defund the police advocates are asking for. The great work of the POP team started with John Hines is continued with Steve Bodette. This program is designed to educate and help people reacclimate to the world after stints in prison or rehab. There's growing concern, questions, desire for body cameras from the public. This is something Chief Hegney has seen the importance of and has asked for the past 7 years in the capital improvements program. An underrated addition, in my opinion, to the police department is the crime analyst. I feel this position gives the APD the ability to better understand the community in which they serve and allows the police to be a positive influence in these areas of our great cities. I firmly believe that as a nation and society, we need to address racial inequities across the board. We need to speak out against bad police officers. We need to treat each other with respect and dignity. We need to be allies. But that being said, I feel in these times we need to support the good police officers, of which personally I feel 99% of the police across the country fall into that category. When we have some of the recent events, it casts a shadow over policing and society as a whole. These are causes that are vital to the safety of the public. The police department has 21 marked cars. Historically, we've audited 7 every 3 years. The rule of thumb, and we've all heard Chief Hegney speak about this, is that each car is no longer safe after either A, 3 years, or 100,000 miles. Chief Hegney does something unique. He tries to space these out in increments, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 7. A lot of departments across the state, across the country, they'll buy an entire fleet almost every single year. This way here, we're limiting the money that's used for maintenance, lowering the cost rather for maintenance. As you know, we budgeted 1 police car in fiscal 21. Next year, we'll have 2 budgeted, then 3. That's going to allow us to phase in utilizing the tow contract. However, given the budgetary constraints of the last few years, this was a prudent way in the administration's decision of purchasing cruisers to be able to offset some of the burden that we've had financially. Now, keep in mind, and this is important, that we haven't bought a cruiser in over 3 years, and it generally takes 6 to 12 months once we order a car for it to arrive. In my estimation, the short-term borrowing, the phasing in of the tow contract makes sense fiscally, but these cars are needed. We approve it, 6 to 12 months from now, we'll get those cars. So that concludes my comments, and I'd like to open it up to the floor for anything. Councilor Conti and then Councilor Kovas. And Councilor Blair.
Mr. Chairman, I think it'll come as no surprise to you that I support this measure. Because I've seen communities that have stalled the purchase of police cars and get themselves into a very difficult situation. It's very important that we maintain this fleet in its best possible condition in spite of the pandemic, in spite of the economy, because of the reliance that we have on that department. I support this bond completely, and I can't urge my fellow councilors enough to support it, because this is, as you said, not gym floors. This is a much more serious situation. If we don't do this and we wind up getting into a leasing arrangement on cars, it's going to be all downhill from there. So I urge my fellow councils to support this measure, even in this economic environment. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Well said, Councilor Conti. Councilor Kovas.
Thank you, Councilor Delicio, and thank you for your comments there. I too, like both of you, am supportive of this. I do think it's a public safety measure, and as a result, different than the gym floors. The one question I had was, I remember during the budget hearings there was talk about the tow contract, and we used to do things one way, and now we're borrowing for these police cars. I thought they were paid for annually through the tow contract. Can you explain a little bit about what's going on there? Is this different than what we've done in the past?
It is, yes, and thank you for that comment. And as I alluded to in my comments, we're going to be in a situation where we're phasing back to utilizing the tow contract. We've all been down here, and we've all heard the chief say if he had his druthers, that's the way he'd pay for these cars. I think it was an administrative decision, and one that will be phasing in the purchase of 3 cars, and then this will give us the fleet we need, which will give us the ability to transition back to the tow contract. Follow up, Councilor Kovas?
Is this the first year we haven't used the tow contract money?
Well, No, because this is the first time in probably 3 years we've purchased cars, so I'd have to go back and find that exactly. But I know that it's something we're going into. I will recognize Councilor Blair because I know he's been the chair of this committee for 3 terms now. Of the Public Safety Chair Committee, rather.
Thank you. We never actually used it directly. It's going to be a line item in his budget now that I understand that tow contract money goes into that line item, and he's going to be able to buy 3 cars at $50,000 flat, right? So the money went into the general fund before, and we borrowed money to buy cars, which was paid for out of the general fund. So it's going to be a budget item, I've been told.
Correct.
But mine.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you.
Correct, as I alluded to in my comments as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Councilor Blair, did you have additional comments?
No, it's just that we do have a great police department. The cars are well kept. We get good use out of them. But 3 years without purchasing cars, you're generally depleting the purpose and what we've accomplished. So I think this is a good way to get back in line, get in a routine, get a system going so that we turn them over properly so they don't get to a point where they become dangerous or non-usable.
Yeah, and in terms of the maintenance, the mechanic he has out there, it just works wonders. And the other thing to keep in mind, the way the chief utilizes these cars, this fleet, is 14 hours in service, 7 hours off. And that's in itself is unique because a lot of departments across the country will use them 24/7. So shift after shift after shift, whereas it's shift, off. Councilor Blair,
if I may just continue. In my old before life, when I worked on cars, I serviced the Attleboro Police Department, and they were used 36 hours a day if possible. And they got in a situation back then without a proper maintenance of replacement that these cars weren't fit for the road. So we've come a long, long way in making sure that our police officers go out there are driving a safe vehicle, not only for themselves, but the people that they protect, because they don't drive 35 miles an hour if they're going to an emergency. So the better those cars are, the better shape they're in, the newer, the better our public is protected.
well said. Any other comments, thoughts, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:58.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 7:58. Thank you.
Zoning and land use is canceled for tonight.
Licenses Committee is canceled for tonight.
Ordinance, Election, and Legislative Matters Committee is canceled this evening.
Mr. President, if I may just report on the Rules and Procedures Committee.
Yes.
I sent a communication to the city solicitor and she responded. She has rewritten the entire section on Zoom meetings and is calling for it to be pulled off of the rules and procedures. And I haven't read everything that she sent me because I just got it today. So I am going to circulate the document with her changes to the committee, but she has offered a meeting on a Tuesday afternoon when she comes down to Attleboro. And I'd like to have the committee take her up on that offer sometime in August or September. After we have a chance to read through her plan, and if we could all agree to maybe like a late afternoon Tuesday meeting with the city solicitor for perhaps a half an hour to get clarification on the issues that she's drawn on the plan. That's what my current thinking is. But I have not discussed this with the committee yet because I just got it today. But because we're having a meeting tonight, when I have another meeting for another month, I would like to have the information put forth, and that concludes my comments, and that'll adjourn the Rules and Committee meeting. Thank you.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Municipal Council back to order at 8 p.m. And we are going to start with committee reports with Councilor Blair.
Public Safety Emergency Management has no business to bring forward this evening, but I'd like to bring forward City Property and Claims Committee. I have two motions this evening. I move to declare the following DPW vehicle as surplus and available for disposition. It's a 1993 Ford F800. I read all the numbers a little earlier. This is in very, very poor condition.
Second.
Self-explanatory. Thanks.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Holmes, I believe.
Blair, I believe.
Blair, I believe. Fine. Blair it is.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
the Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Oh, Steve, you froze.
Finish it, Coop.
Who'd we?
It's
Jay,
on
right?
Yeah.
Councilor Cobus,
Yes.
Councilor Delicia, Dolan,
Yes.
Councilor Holmes.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes, so 10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to declare the following DPW vehicle as surplus and available for disposition. A 2011 Crown Vic, and I already 20 minutes ago read in the numbers. It's in poor condition. It's got 92,000 miles.
Second.
So,
Thank you.
Councilor Blair,
Yeah.
Councilor
I'd
Jackson.
like to, thank you very much, President Cooper. I apologize for cutting in. So, a snafu. So, it's actually supposed to be police department vehicle. It's not DPW.
I told you I didn't think they had one down there.
Well, you were right. And I hate to say when you're right. I really,
I know it. That must hurt. That must hurt.
it's like killing me right now. So anyways, I offer up a friendly amendment so that it does say the police vehicle is surplus.
I'll take that as a friendly amendment. And any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have no other business this evening. Request a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you. Councilor DeSimone.
President Cooper, Transportation and Traffic has no business to report this evening. Would ask for a meeting at the next available time, please.
Thank you. Councilor Waterman.
Yes, I would like to, from the docket, of July 23rd, 2020, I would make a motion to approve a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts to the City of Attleboro for the community-wide Big Read program of approximately $50,000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
Can't have it. Okay.
None by me. It's normal.
Thank you. A roll call vote is required, and we'll start with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone, Ms. DeSimone.
Apologies, yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And from the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to approve the appointment of Ashley Stewart, 55 4th Street, Attleboro, to the Council on Human Rights, term to expire February 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
None.
Thank you. Roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to approve the appointment of Gail Clark of 41 Hazelwood Drive, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the Municipal Building Commission, term to expire February 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
No, we've got a great addition here.
Great. Thank you. Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And also from the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to approve the appointment of Matt Borgelis, 6 Marjorie Street, Attleboro, to the Council on Human Rights, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
Not at this time, no.
Great. Roll call will begin, any from the council? No. Roll call will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Waterman,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business of the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. We'll call the next committee at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, I have one motion for the council this evening. From the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to approve the request of the mayor to approve a 10-year lease agreement with Bristol County Savings Bank for the operation of a bank branch in the new high school.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions or comments?
I have no more to say about it.
Thank you. Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business that the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, President Cooper.
You're welcome.
Just trying to find all this paperwork on my counter. Reporting for the Public Works Committee from the docket of July 23rd, 2020. I move to approve the transfer of funds for the fiscal year 21 insurance premium endorsements and claims and transfer $5,937 from the Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the following: $4,937 to the Water Enterprise Fund Insurance account, $1,000 to the Water Enterprise Fund Claims account.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments or questions?
We just discussed this a few moments ago, and I gave a clear explanation.
Great. Thank you. A roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. D. Simone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
President Cooper,
Yes,
10 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you very much. From the docket of July 23rd, 2020, I move to approve the donation of $218,154 from Columbia Gas for paving on Thatcher Street, County Street, Horton Street, Forest Street, and also for the repair/maintenance of various roadway and sidewalks throughout the city.
Second.
Thank you. And once again, I did discuss this earlier, if anyone has any questions.
Great. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
Ms. D. Simone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes,
10 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you very much, fellow colleagues. I do not have any other business this evening for the Public Works, but would like to call for a committee meeting at the appropriate time next month.
Thank you. Councilor Delicio.
Thank you, President Cooper. From reporting for budget and appropriations from the docket of June 2nd, 2020, I move to approve the request of the mayor to approve the following loan order, that $357,000 be appropriated for the cost of purchasing and equipment, police departmental vehicles. Would like to request a waiving of the reading.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Just read it 20 minutes ago.
Not even.
Second.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions from the council?
Mm-mm.
Nope. Again, this is a loan order, requires a 2/3 vote, and the roll call vote will begin with Council Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delicio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. D. Simone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
yes,
President Cooper,
Yes,
10 yeas, 0 nays.
motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick before I wrap up, Steve, I just want to thank you for all your work in terms of getting the motions ready and everything for us this week while Virginia's been out. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you. I tried. That's all I can say. Thank you.
That's all the business I have for budget and appropriations tonight. Would like to call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great, thank you. Council Cobus.
Zoning and Land Use Committee doesn't have any business tonight and call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Licenses Committee doesn't have any business tonight, and I'd like to call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time, please.
Thank you. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. Reporting for Ordinance Election Legislative Matter Committee. I don't have any business this evening, but I just want to let everybody know there's going to be some emails that are coming out about some potential amendment changes to the public hearing that just closed this evening. And so to just be on the lookout for that. We're waiting for the administration to reply to a few emails. So I just wanted to let everybody be aware of that, especially my committee.
So, Steve, were you able to get in touch with Councilor Holmes today? Because
I was not, no.
okay, so just a point of order, Councilor Holmes, you have to make a motion. The motion that Councilor Conti made to lay on the table at the time, I could have and I should have referred that back to the committee, but I didn't have my book with me. So that matter is now before the council. The motion to lay on the table expires on the first session of the full council, the next full session of the full council. So right now, that matter is with your committee, but before the full council. So what I would suggest is that you make a motion to, I wrote it down. Read the motion to, and we can recess for a couple of minutes if you need to do this. Move to delete and replace the section relative to the wastewater department that was laid on the table. and then immediately make a motion to amend to send that back to the ordinance committee for this council to vote on the amended motion. Because you need to send that back to your committee so that you can do the work on the questions that the councilors had at that time.
Okay, so I so I entertain a motion to take off of the table, or how would I?
You don't need to, Richard, don't shake your head yes, because it's no.
Okay.
It's already off the table.
Okay.
It's off the table.
I'm making a motion to bring back to committee the wastewater ordinance change. I want to pick the right number.
Hold on for 1 second. Let me just find it so you can.
Let's take a couple minutes.
Yeah, we can.
We had said something, President Cooper, about sending the business back to committee for further study and recommendation.
Yes.
So
Yep.
it is the ordinance changes to increase fees charged by wastewater department section 16-15 building sewer connection.
That's correct.
Okay, so can I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. President Cooper, can I explain?
Sure.
So this wasn't the public hearing that closed this evening, and I know it can get confusing because it does have to do with fees. This is from last month when we laid it on the table, and I was going to get clarification, which I'm still in the works of getting from Mr. Tom Hayes and Courtney Wunschel. So I would like to bring this back to committee and then have rework this in committee and then have it go to the full council. And then what I was describing earlier, the public hearing that closed this evening, there's some counselors that have some amendments that they'd like to make. So I'd like to honor that. And we're waiting for the administration to things. We're in contact with waste management regarding, we're waiting for some responses. And so these are two different things that are occurring. I'm hoping to bring both out in August.
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone has any questions. It's a little go ahead.
Just procedurally, I think you need to make an amendment and get it seconded to refer, instead of deleting, make a motion to send it back to committee instead of striking and replacing, and then we'll refer that matter back to ordinances, elections, and legislative matters.
Okay.
So would you like me to say that right now?
Yep.
Okay, so I entertain a motion to bring it back to committee. How do I say that?
Mm-hmm. Refer it back.
Refer back to committee the proposed ordinance changes and to increase fees charged by waste department section 16-15 building sewers and connections.
Second.
Thank you. So this is on the amendment, which is initially, just to make sure everybody's clear. The original motion came before the committee, was voted out of committee, was voted before the full council, and motion was made, seconded, and passed to lay it on the table by Councilor Conti. At that time, I should have paused us for a minute then and grabbed my book, because at that moment I could have referred it back to committee, but I didn't. We laid it on the table and we left it there. Because we left it there, what happens is after it is at the first regular session, the motion to lay on the table expires. So the motion was before the council. She needed to bring it back out, get a second friendly amendment to refer it back to the committee, which is what we're doing right now. So this amendment right now is to send it back, and then we'll vote the motion as amended, and I'll refer it back to the committee. Just so we're all clear. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. Could I get the exact verbiage of the motion, President Cooper? Kind of went kind of fast there.
Diana, did you read it?
Sure.
Can you read it?
Sure. I entertain a motion to refer back the proposed ordinance changes and increase fees charged by the wastewater department section 16-15 building sewers and connections.
Okay. Can you do me a favor, Diana? Can you email that to me
Yes, of course.
at work? Just for the vote. So
yes, of course. And I've already, even though it was just late in the table, I have been working with the department heads to get these answers. So I've kind of almost been assuming it's in committee just to let my committee members know.
Yep.
Okay, any questions on the motion as amended? We're voting on the amendment at the moment. Any questions? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor
Yes.
Cobus,
Yes.
Councilor Dolan,
Yes.
Councilor Holmes,
Yes.
and me is yes. 10 yeas, 0 nays. Now we're to the motion as amended. Hold on, I just gotta write this down. Okay, any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Oh, Peter, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
This is going to be referred back to the committee, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
The roll call vote will begin with Councilor Holmes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes and that is referred back to Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters.
Thank you. That concludes the business this evening for Ordinance, Election, and Legislative Matters Committee, and I look forward to our meeting in August.
Thank you. There is no old business. There's no new business. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Holmes,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. We are adjourned 8:22. Thank you all. And Steve, thanks again for all your work.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks. Call me
See
tomorrow if you
everybody
need.
in August.
Enjoy the rest of your summer, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.